What if I told you that you could have $3.5 million at one bank and have the entire amount insured by the FDIC? We're going to go through a case study that shows you how to get over $250,000 of coverage at one bank, and the funny part about it is that it's on the FDIC website. Hey, this is Patrick King, and if you're looking for one place to help you pull all of this retirement stuff together, then check out the Retirement Adventure Club. I'll post a link in the show notes below. So with all this bank mess that's going on right now, plenty of people are starting to worry about the health of their bank. Now, nothing is ever certain in life, but I don't think that right now is the time to stress over your bank, and I've made a video about that, and I'll post a link in the show notes below. Now, the other question that's come out of all of this centers around the FDIC insurance limits. One of the shocking details around the Silicon Valley Bank failure was that there were quite a few depositors who were well over the FDIC insurance limit. Now, fortunately for them, the FDIC decided to guarantee them anyway to keep the public in general from freaking out. I guess everyone is still shell-shocked from 2008, right? Now, what does the FDIC cover? There are a couple of parts to the limits of what the FDIC insures at a bank. First, there's the coverage limit of $250,000 per depositor per insured bank for each account ownership category, which leads us to our next part. There are several different account ownership categories. These could be single accounts, joint accounts, trust accounts, etc. So if you want to increase the amount that you can have that's FDIC insured at one bank, you have some options when it comes to how to set these accounts up. Now let's take a look at this example from the FDIC's website. Paul and Barb bank with Globo Bank, and here's how their accounts are set up. Paul has $250,000 in a single account in his name. Barb has $250,000 in a single account in her name. They have $500,000 in a joint account. Paul has $250,000 in a revocable trust account with Barb listed as the beneficiary. And Barb has $250,000 in a revocable trust account with Paul listed as the beneficiary. They have $1.5 million in an account owned by their joint living trust that names their 3 children as equal beneficiaries. And finally, Paul has $250,000 in his Globo Bank IRA, and Barb has $250,000 in her Globo Bank IRA. When you add all that up, the total comes to $3.5 million. And guess how much is FDIC insured? All of it. So let's get into the details. The first 2 accounts make total sense. They're individual accounts, or single accounts in FDIC parlance, that hold the $250,000 limit. Easy enough. Next up is the joint account. Since it's a completely different type of ownership category, Paul and Barb get another $250,000 of insurance limit each. So the $500,000 in this account is FDIC insured. Next come the trusts, but this is where it gets a little complicated. For revocable trusts, there's a $250,000 insurance limit per each unique beneficiary, so long as the account is titled in the name of the trust, the beneficiaries are named in either the deposit account records or the trust document, and a beneficiary must be a living person, charity, or nonprofit organization as defined by the IRS. And of course, the FDIC is a government program, so you know there are more rules. If a revocable trust has 5 or fewer beneficiaries, then the FDIC will insure up to $250,000 per beneficiary. And they look at revocable trusts as one type of account category. So for Paul and Barb here in this example, when we add up their total trust assets, we get a total of $2 million. That's $1 million for each of them. Now let's see how all of that divides up among their beneficiaries. For Paul's share of the trust assets, that $1 million will end up going equally to Barb and their 3 children. That comes out to, you guessed it, $250,000 each. The same goes for Barb's share of the trust assets. Her $1 million will go in equal parts to Paul and their 3 children, and each $250,000 share is FDIC insured. Now that brings us to their IRAs. For certain self-directed retirement accounts, up to $250,000 in FDIC deposit insurance is available. Now, one thing to note here is that in the IRA, the types of things that can be insured do not change. A self-directed IRA that has a $250,000 CD from an FDIC insured bank will be covered, whereas $250,000 invested in mutual funds will not. By the way, self-directed IRAs are not very common. So when you add everything in this example up, Paul and Barb end up having $3.5 million at Global Bank that's all FDIC insured because they knew the rules. I will quickly say, though, to consult with your estate planning attorney before setting up any of these trusts. Let's not let the FDIC tail wag the estate planning dog here. And this example didn't even touch on some of the other ownership categories, such as irrevocable trusts, employee benefit plan accounts, corporation, partnership, or unincorporated association accounts, and government accounts. So there are even more opportunities to maximize your FDIC insurance limit, even at the same bank. So the question is, should you? Watch this video to learn more about how to figure out the right amount of cash to keep on hand for you. I'll see you there.